Have you ever been inspired to write a story by your pets? Did a cat, in particular, make you imagine journeys in the fields and woods and the society of animals? The author Tad Williams wrote his first novel, Tailchaser's Song, in part by observing his cats in the early 80s. Tailchaser's Song follows the titular character's quest to find his missing girlfriend, which is derailed by a different adventure to save the world, though I'm going to argue that point. There is an interesting similarity between Tailchaser's Song and Warrior Cats in that both have red-orange toms as main characters and feature a complex society with prefix/suffix names and specific roles, such as hunter or warrior. However, saying Warrior Cats is a rip-off of Tailchaser's Song is like saying the Percy Jackson series is a rip-off of Greek and Roman mythology. Not that I'm suggesting Tad Williams is 2,000 years old. Warrior Cats may be inspired by Tailchaser's Song, but they are very different stories. First, the clans in Tailchaser's Song are not strongly bound like in Warrior Cats. Members come and go more like in a neighborhood. They are, however, united by a shared mythology that seems to be worldwide and all answer to a common queen of cats. Hence, the clans don't noticeably compete like in Warrior Cats. Second, accepting food from humans may be something other cats poke fun at, but it's not practically criminal like in Warrior Cats. Finally, prey in Warrior Cats is not intelligent, while in Tailchaser's Song, crows, squirrels, and probably other small animals have their own societies and can beg for their lives, which is a very different dynamic.
Hold on a minute. What do you want, Sockpaw? Speaking of begging for their lives, did that stop you when you murdered a squirrel to make my ears? What are you going on about? I just looked at myself in a mirror and realized that my ears are made of real fur. Stop interrupting me, or you're going back on the foot. You threatened me with violence. Now I'm certain that you killed a squirrel with your bare hands. Or feet.
Oi! Anyway, Warrior Cats is 80 or 800 books, while there's just one Tailchaser's Song. I've only read a few other books by Tad Williams, his Bobby Dollar series, and he can't seem to finish that, so I doubt he'll ever write a sequel to Tailchaser. I first read Tailchaser's Song in Russia in 2004. I saw the book in a store when my family visited the folks in St. Petersburg, but we didn't buy it immediately because my mother's friend knew of a market where books were half off. I went there with my mother's friend and bought 3 other books besides Tailchaser's Song, Hunter's Moon and the 2 Kazan books. My mother's friend was unhappy with me and sternly asked if I really wanted to buy those. I thought she still considered the price too high, though I got them anyway, but later my mom told me her friend judged the books by their covers to be nonsense and didn't think it was worth my while, as an intelligent child, to read such stuff. What the hell was I supposed to read? Dostoevsky? I couldn't have appreciated him then, while cat adventures are right up my alley. With respect to the plot, boo-hoo to anyone who says it starts off too slow. It's called world building. Patience will be rewarded. During the pandemic, Tad Williams read some of his books aloud over Zoom. Here's one of my favorite passages about Tailchaser and his travel companion Pouncequick.
One night, when a scared cold Pouncequick had climbed onto him during a violent thunder shower, all the frustration that Tailchaser had been feeling welled up. He pushed the kitten away, swatting him with his paw. As Pouncequick crawled into a thatch of grass, little crying noises shaking his small form, Freddy felt a sudden wave of terror. Pouncequick would die, and leave him alone in this vast, wild land. Then, realizing what he had done, he went and caught the small cat up by the nape of his neck and brought him back. He licked the kitten all over his wet fur and huddled against him to keep him warm until the rains would cease for a time.
In this example, Tailchaser was scared of being left alone if Pouncequick died. As his character grows by the end of the book, Tailchaser fiercely defends Pouncequick and goes back to a horrible prison to save the kitten.
The cat's journey is long, difficult, and terrifying, for something stalks them in the night with red claws, something that they suspect caused several cats to disappear from their home clan. Tailchaser's Song is not a children's book, though I wouldn't have found it if it hadn't been marketed as such, and I truly felt fear the first time I read it. The fear of the hunted, the fear of being taken somewhere to dark, terrible places and never seeing the light again.
In the middle of their path, Tailchaser and Pouncequick come to Rootwood, ancient seat of the royal cat family. This scene has been likened to the meeting with Galadriel in Lord of the Rings, with one difference. Here's how the Queen of Cats is introduced, read by Tad Williams.
As Freddy first glimpsed her, he thought of a fountain, a forest spring. She was clear, shining white, and her long, soft fur started out from her body in all directions, like the puff of a dandelion. Beside her was a small earthenware bowl, brought somehow from the dwellings of man. Before Tailchaser's gaze, the scioness of the line of Harar sat with her back curled and her head forward, one leg pointed outward, the paw thrust in the air like the graceful branches of the birch trees surrounding her court. The queen was nipping delicately at her hind end.
This rude toy cat was about as useful as that last sentence suggested. Rootwood, however, with its ancient lichen-covered trees and passages walked by thousands of cats, is a place I'd really like to see again, if only in a fan fiction.
You know what I'd like to see? Interrupting me again, are you? Yes! Show me proof that you did not kill a squirrel to make my ears! How would I even catch one? I'm too slow and clumsy. Don't you think, logically, that the fur was already dead when I got it? So you made my ears out of roadkill? Ew! Honestly, Sockpaw, Occam's razor. Anyway, after Tailchaser and Pouncequick leave Rootwood with a new friend, Roof Shadow, the most memorable and dark sequence of the plot is unearthed. It is here that they encountered the Mound, an enormous pile of dirt humming with evil. While worrying in the woods beyond it, the heroes are finally chased and caught by the monsters that have been hinted at since the beginning and dragged underground to miserable slavery, digging tunnels on behalf of the evil cat god Heart-Eater.
In my opinion, Tad Williams made a small mistake in the way he described humans, or M'an as he calls them. Tailchaser's Song is set in the then modern times, the 80s, with cars and houses. Since cat gods turned out to be real, should we assume the cat myth of human creation is also true? That humans are descended from one insolent cat whose tail was ripped off and legs stretched out as punishment for trying to take the throne? You'd think that would affect the progress of human civilization, but then again. Anyway, mythology aside, Heart-Eater's plan was to dig tunnels under the entire world and cave in everything. I wonder just how feasible that was, considering, oceans. Was Heart-Eater really a threat? Although perhaps it can be assumed, it didn't specifically say he could only be destroyed by another god. Hence, If humans found out, they could have just blown away the mound and his bloated butt with it. Ignoring those logistics, Tailchaser's song is a must-read for fantasy lovers. Forgive the cliché. It certainly dug a tunnel into my heart and will always be on my favorite book list. So, the next time you're stranded in a forest and need help from squirrels, just say Murikarick Snap. This video was sponsored by my tax return. And for the first time, it got rejected initially because I somehow put down my birth year as 2019. I wouldn't want to be born in 2019. Too close to the singularity.